Hey, welcome to Dad Casual, where full-time dads and casual gamers come together to talk about the games we wish we had more time to play. Thanks for being here. It's episode 32. That number just keeps getting higher, one at a time. I know that's how that works.
That's how that works. Yeah.
It just continues to blow me away that we've gotten this high already, and we're going to be doing like episode 50 before we know it this summer. And man, I'm just really pumped. Thanks for continuing to watch. Make sure to jump in, subscribe, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We have Facebook now, and we want to do like more of like a Facebook community where we can open up for people to post and talk about as things go on. So definitely jump in, follow us on all those channels, and we'll have fun announcements when we start doing those kinds of things. But man, let's get right into the games. We're excited this week. We're going to talk about the Diablo 4 beta this last weekend, which was awesome. I thought we're going to get into that. E3's got some bad news. It's probably on its last breath. There was a really killer Zelda presentation with 10 minutes of gameplay this week that we're going to kind of go over. There's some PS Plus game announcements. We've got a new Ninja Turtles game in development that looks way better than it should be. I didn't know anything about it, but immediately I'm into it. So yeah, let's get into it. Of course, this week we always have Houston Dragna.
Hey, what's up?
I'm Andy Bond, but we don't have Preston because he died. Yeah.
No extra lives,
sad.
right?
Very sad.
No one up.
Anyways, moving on.
Just blowing right past that.
It made me think of there's the meme of it's from Loki, but it's Tom Hiddleston being like, "Yes, very sad." Anyways,
You do a good Tom Hiddleston. That was awesome.
I wasn't even doing an impression. That was just me. Okay. Well, maybe you ever be talking to someone and you like mimic them or do their accent without knowing?
Probably, yeah. Not knowingly, obviously.
They call that code switching. Sometimes I feel like I do that when I think of something. I'll change the way I speak, and I really don't want to be that person. Anyway. Well, what's up, man? What have you been up to? You've been playing any games? Anything crazy in your personal life? What's going on?
Yeah. I mean, really just as far as games. So we talked about Hogwarts Legacy. So I have a character in that now as well, along with my wife. I've actually been playing more than my wife. Shocker. But I'm at like level 7 or 8. I'm still pretty early in the game, not super far.
Sure.
And then Diablo, obviously. Me and you played together with my buddy John, and that was a whole lot of fun. Just a hoot and a half, if you will.
Dude, we gotta get John in more. I think I haven't laughed as much playing games. Like, there's something about Diablo that's a little bit casual. Casual.
Hey.
And I like I don't know, man. We were just talking and cutting up, and just, I mean, it was one of those like dumb comedy nights, but it was fun.
Yeah. Where it was late at night, and so like I think you just kind of get a little delirious, and we are just a little giggly, and it just kind of kept going and like cascading and chain reacting into one another. So yeah, it was just a bunch of ridiculousness, and it was a ton of fun. So shout out John. We'll probably shout him out a couple more times, but he's Twitch streaming now. So look up John Melanson or Melon Khan on Twitch. He's a drummer. He's really super cool dude. He's one of my ex-bandmates. Super good guy. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. So a couple of recent games, which is new for me. I've been playing a bunch of older stuff before that.
Yeah, it's been kind of a busy week for me with work and some other things. But I actually did this weekend get a lot of gaming in. I actually, in the Diablo 4 beta, like I hit the level cap of 25 on one of my characters. And then I played a new character with you guys. And I think we got to like, I don't know, 10, 11, something like that. So I played the rogue and the druid, and the rogue was the one I got to the level cap on.
Let's go ahead and check this out, since we're already talking about it.
Yeah, let's just dive right in. Yeah, I was kind of just transitioning automatically. So, man, what did you think? What are initial thoughts, Houston, of the game, of what you played so far? I know you only got to like level 10 or 11, kind of got through some. I think you did beat the kind of the first major story boss. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I got as far as you guys did during that night when we played, and I only really have like a couple of hours of Diablo 3 under my belt. I'm not a Diablo like fan, not yet at least. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. We were talking a couple of episodes ago about like the differences between gameplay trailers and the gameplay itself. And the opening cinematic for Diablo 4 is like you're seeing it right now, is one of the most incredible CGI adaptations of anything I've ever seen in my life. Like any movie, like this has some of the best CGI. And then you go into like this isometric top down, like it's probably 4K, but it's like your character model is maybe like 500 pixels tall and like not super detailed. And so it's not an accurate representation of what the gameplay is like. But the gameplay, if you're familiar with like Gauntlet and stuff, it's kind of like that. It can be a team-based like role, like class adventure game with a bit more kind of RPG elements to it than your Gauntlet games. And I do enjoy it, and it was fun. It's very kind of fast-paced. There's a lot of like immediate reward to like what you're doing, which I really like. The spell trees and are just like the ability trees are very interesting. There's a lot of branches to them.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed being able to kind of like customize the way I play on like my basic attack and my special moves, my armor, the weapon that I use, all that kind of stuff to fit my particular gameplay style.
Yeah, I definitely thought, and it's interesting hearing like graphics, but just a second ago on the screen they showed like Diablo 3, and like visually, not just obviously PS5 or whatever, you're gonna have the just basic graphic fidelity increase, but just from a design standpoint, it's not as colorful. I do think actually I really love the visual element of it. Does it match up to a immaculately polished CGI trailer? No. No, it does not. But man, I loved it. I just had fun playing, and I hadn't had like, and a game is good when you just can't stop thinking about it. You just want to go back to it.
I will say that the fun factor of this game is extremely high. Like there's a lot of replayability. There's a lot of just like, oh, I can't like put the controller down. I'm gonna just like exhaust myself just going through this dungeon because there is a lot of content to it. I mean, I'm assuming just in the beta you can only get to level 25, which does that mean like the level cap is like 100, 150 or something like that?
I believe the level cap will ultimately be 100, but that's kind of an initial level cap that will lock you on like how many talents you can get. Like I think there will be like similar to other games like Paragon levels and like things like that where like you level by gear at that point. Like you can get more powerful, but it won't be by leveling up in the traditional sense. But yes, 100 is the cap. And I will say this is the first time I've ever thought of Diablo, and I saw a few people call this, and I thought it was an interesting question. Like, did it feel a little MMO like to you?
It did.
Like,
I was gonna say it was like almost Warcrafty vibes to it.
Yeah, because like you have these preset abilities that you can do. You're equipping gear. There are these now there's like world bosses and instances that you can like.
Yeah, the world events were fun. I don't remember that from Diablo 3. That wasn't a thing, right?
No, I mean you didn't used to run around the open world and like see other players. It wasn't like that. And so, no, to be fair, I actually didn't play a lot of Warcraft. I'm sorry, Diablo 3. I played some, but I never really made it that far. And I think this might be the one that like turns it around on me. And like part of me always liked the appeal of MMOs a little bit, but I don't know. A lot of times I'm not interested. That world boss, did you see just that on screen? That drove me crazy. He just constantly would one shot me and I would run back in. I just was a squishy character. So I got one shot by that swipe attack that was like, I just couldn't figure out how to dodge it. I think probably I should have dodged toward him, but yeah. Back
in junior high and high school, I was like really big in it. Not to World of Warcraft. I played a little bit of that, but I was really into Guild Wars. Was the one that I played a whole lot of, like hundreds of hours of Guild Wars with me and a bunch of buddies. And this kind of gave me some of those vibes. It's pretty different. But yeah, definite MMO vibes from this one, and it seems like that's something that they intentionally went after and have succeeded pretty well in.
Yeah. One of my criticisms of the game is now listen, there are, of course, if you tried to play the beta this weekend, things like login queues or waiting to play the game or the game even crashing because of server things. those type of things actually don't frustrate me in a beta because I actually understand like they might be running fewer servers than they plan to at launch just to see the stability and they want to test the game. It's tax the servers to see what's going on. Like again, it's a beta, so they're doing tests on things. So it's like those type of things I'm not so much, as well as I would say balancing. I think there was a pretty uneven balancing from pretty much across everyone I read that barbarian or really melee characters overall just kind of struggled, where characters like the sorceress or the sorcerer just dominated. And so I don't know if that's necessarily built-in skill set or ranged versus melee, but there were issues there. But I really think those things will also start to balance. And to be fair, we only saw the first 25 levels. Maybe the barbarian is a monster at level 100. We don't know that.
Yeah, and it's a beta too. Like that was kind of just like, I mean, that's what you expect with betas. It's like it's not going to be 100% polished. They use this to kind of like stress test the system to see if it's balanced, to see if the network can handle it, especially for a network-enabled game like this. And so yeah, I have high hopes that this one's going to be. I mean, it was already like gameplay-wise extremely polished. Like I felt like it was done from that perspective. But yeah, like the party system gave us some glitches. But we got right in. There was no wait to get in the server really.
Yeah, I would have liked to find like a group up system, or I'm sure there will be one of like, hey, I want to run with some random people, even like just because it's fun to run as a group. So maybe those things will happen, or maybe they'll just leave it up to our own devices to find. We'll see.
Yeah. What character class did you go for?
So my main one was the rogue. I went for like archer style rogue. Yeah, that's my character there. So definitely fun. I played on the second world tier, which is what you should do. It's not that hard. And so had a great time. And of course I played a druid a little too. And druid was fun. You can transform into like a werewolf or whatever and fight and stuff. One of my biggest complaints about the game, that I don't know if this can be fixed or we'll see. And this is, I can see both sides. I think there's a pro and a con here. So hear me out. A lot of the abilities or effects are not based on your skill tree, but they're rather based on the items that you get. And I noticed that while I was
I didn't notice that. Okay.
Level 5. So like eventually like every legendary would have this affix on it. And I'm sure later on there might be legendaries with like more than one. But like mine might say like, hey, when you use this melee stabbing ability, it now makes people explode, or you'll get one and it'll have like these really cool and interesting effects on them. And some of them even was like gave me more talent points. Like you got a talent point in all your move abilities, every single one. So
that's intense.
If you already had a point in one, it's now level 2 for free for you. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and you only get one per level, right? Usually
one per level. So you're getting extra and things like that. And so that's pretty cool. My problem was that I started to realize that like at first, like the first 4 legendaries I got, and I only probably got like 7 or 8 the whole game. And I don't know if they were dropping more than normal. It's a beta, so maybe they were just being generous. I don't know. But I noticed that I was like, okay, I've got all these like melee ones, but I wanted to play a ranged rogue. So now I felt like I had to switch to like playing the melee style and the stab. And when I switched, I actually did have a lot of fun, and I like experimented with playing up close and personal. But then I was like, but it wasn't like in my mind how I wanted to play. And I could see that being frustrating for a player that's like, let me play the way I want, but instead I'm not powerful enough if I don't equip this legendary gear and now play the way the gear's telling me to play. I could see that being frustrating for people. Like, I don't want to do that. That's not fun, or that's not even the meta way to play. That's a like a weak build, but it's all I've found. I haven't found the good ones yet. But on the flip side of that, I do think by switching your build around constantly, it would help keep the game really fresh. Because you're like, ooh, I found a legendary that empowers this ability. Let's reset my and build that ability. And now the game feels different, and you can play a couple hours with a different style, which is cool, because I know for a while leveling up, you won't know what you like until you try it. So I kind of like it's, you see what I'm saying? It's kind of a pros and cons.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool.
But yeah, had a lot of fun, man. Do you think you'll buy it at launch?
I don't think I'm going to buy it at launch just because I just bought Hogwarts, so I'm really busy with that.
Your wife bought Hogwarts, let's
Yeah,
be
that's
honest.
that's true. We bought Hogwarts. It's a family thing, right?
Oh,
And then I'm saving my pennies for The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which we just got a little teaser for, a little gameplay teaser for from the creators, which we can talk about that in a little while, I think, right?
yeah, yeah. We'll talk about. I mean, shoot. I guess we could transition right into that. But before we talk about Zelda, let's leave that as a palette.
Let's savor it. Yeah.
Savor it. Uh, so first, I want to talk a little bit about E3 being empty.
Uh-oh.
Paul Tossi at Forbes reported, and his headline was Summer Games Fest swipes Ubisoft as E3 2023 continues to collapse. Ubisoft will not be at E3.
Oh
They will be
no.
they will be at Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, which is already usurped E3 as the go-to summer event, and they already have the winter event with the Game Awards. I'll go ahead and read this quote from Paul Tossi at Forbes. Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo were already out of E3 2023 as the once pinnacle game showcase struggles to stay alive. Now, one of the last major publishers still potentially attending, Ubisoft, has also announced they are gone. And a day later, revealed that Ubi Forward Showcase would be a part of Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest instead. As of right now, E3 2023 is not canceled, but I don't know how it can sustain itself on the limited studios that remain. And it's unclear how many of those will actually stay, as who really wants to be the last one in the pool for something like this?
Man.
Yeah.
That's kind of tough to hear, honestly.
Yeah, I'm mixed because I guess I don't really have a tie to E3 as much as I just really like all the game presentations that happen. And if they still happen at Summer Games Fest, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, yeah. It really is just putting like a new name on a very similar event.
Yeah,
And it
exactly.
just happens to be Summer Games Fest. But I did grow up like watching and like anticipating and being super excited for E3 specifically.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it's a little bit of a sad thing to see it like kind of just crumble like this. I mean, do we think like what does this mean for the future of E3? Like, does Jeff just like completely take over, or like are they going to try to do anything to fight back? I don't know what much more they can do to do that.
I know the PAX team, and we've talked about this before, is taking over E3. I think that they do excellent fan events that have nothing to do with E3. And I think they could totally turn it into an excellent summer fan event where they can get publishers back coming. If you show that there's interest in people going and attending, and it becomes a big event again. And I would really double down and focus on the indie games. This is the opportunity for indies to get a lot of
Hmm.
spotlight at something that, at least for now, will get attention. Now, if this fizzles out a few more years, the attention will disappear. No one will even remember what E3 was, which is kind of sad. But for now, man, get those independent developers in. Those I think of like the Devolver Digitals. Those people. I don't know if they're going to be there, but I don't know. I just think a moment for someone to step into that limelight.
Yeah. Do we know if since it is PAX, are they playing to their strength of letting fans in, or is this purely still a press event?
No, first off, the last like couple of years, E3 hasn't just been a press event. It's been open to fans for a little bit now.
Okay.
Um, it used to only be the last day, but now it's been every day for a little while now. But now that ReedPop, which is the PAX people, are taking over, like it's a fully fledged fan event. It's basically going to
Okay.
be like a PAX in the summertime. Um, I think they were just hoping that it would be a PAX with Ubisoft and EA and Xbox, but that's just not happening.
Yeah. But then PAX, like, I mean, I could also easily see a future where, like, even if E3 goes away, that it becomes another PAX event, and then they kind of have just like
Yeah.
a resurgence of new PAX events, which would be kind of cool.
I mean, if anything, that's enough. PAX does great. There's tons of games, tons of developers, lots going on. So I think I'm all right with that. I'm gonna be looking forward to Summer Games Fest. It's just been rebranded
100%.
almost in my eyes.
100%. So yeah, same here. I want to go where the game news is, and that's where it's going to be. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And of course, there will be, Xbox and PlayStation will do their own thing sometime in the summer, even if it's not officially tied to any of those things. So just got to look forward to it.
yeah,
Cool.
yep.
So let's talk about PlayStation Plus games. Just got announced today, actually. So we kind of are hot off the press on this news. This comes straight from PlayStation Blog. The 3 games this month. Really excited for these. Meet Your Maker, which we've talked about. Houston, do you remember what Meet Your Maker was?
Vaguely. I'm going to look it up while we're talking.
Meet Your Maker was like a base design sim, like you're fighting.
Yes.
I think you're
Okay. Yeah. We talked. It was like Doom meets Fortnite meets Rust meets all these things. Yeah.
And I think it's wave based, like you're or like a horde mode where you're kind of making a bit. It looks pretty cool. I think I remember all of us watching the trailer and commenting that we thought it looked interesting. And now it's straight up free. So if you're interested in it, jump into Meet Your Maker. I'm pumped.
Heck yeah.
The next one, Sackboy: A Big Adventure. I personally have thought that it would have already had come for free forever ago or been straight up on their essentials, like the subscription service, which I bet it will soon now that they're doing this. But man, I'm all about. I love good platformers, and Sackboy: A Big Adventure, by all reviews and metrics, apparently was an excellent like 3D or I think it was more of a 2.5D maybe.
It is. Yeah. I have it. And I'm now kicking myself because I bought it like 3 months ago.
Oh, that's
which happens. That happened with a couple of other games, but it is what it is.
Maybe you didn't pay too much for it, hopefully.
No, it was used, so I think I got it for like $30, which is still a deal. But yeah, we can definitely jump into that one. But I think what's the developer's name? I can't remember them. But the whole Little Big Planet team, they make excellent platformers. And
oh yeah.
So I mean, this is no exception to that. It is that locked camera 2.5D kind of isometric dealio.
Yeah.
But it is fun. It has the same charm that all the other Little Big Planet games have, and it's multiplayer in that same sense. So yeah. I think it's a win.
Media Molecule.
Media Molecule.
Planet.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm pumped. I think I'm not sure if it'll have the charm that straight up Little Big Planet had, and I'm excited to see the difference. I'm pumped to jump in because I don't think it has like creator levels stuff like that, right?
No, I think it's more of just like a 3D Mario World type thing.
But
Mario 3D World.
I'm cool with that. If that's a couple hours, even if it's just a couple hours, like I just think those types of games are fun. So the last one's Tales of Iron. Tales of Iron looks pretty cool. I don't know much about it, but from its art style, it's kind of this 2D. Gosh,
Tales as in TAILS.
Correct.
Of Iron.
Correct. I believe you're a mouse, and it's like a night fantasy environment. It's kind of got a Paper Mario meets Hollow Knight look. That's like the vibe I would call it.
Yeah, watch. I'm gonna throw it on screen real quick. Here we go. Yeah, Paper Mario. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Castle Crashers as well. Kind of like that, like animated, like 2D paper kind of vibe as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very dark looking, but I'm kind of into it.
Mm-hmm.
I might give it a try. I want to see what the controls are like, see how fun it is. But if the controls are good, I might give it a try.
Yeah, is it like it looks kind of Soulsy a little bit, just 2D?
That's what
2D?
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like, Hollow Knight's like a 2D Souls game ish. That's why I thought, yeah.
But yeah, very dark.
I'm kind of into it though, especially that thing, that fighting that bee thing. That's Hollow Knight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's the bug thing. It's like small creatures, but 2D, hand drawn kind of vibes. Souls like, yeah, this is like a reskinned, not really totally reskinned, but it definitely Hollow Knight.
Is it multiplayer? That looks like 2 players playing at once. That looks cool.
Maybe we'll have to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to a big topic this week. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. There was a gameplay reveal this week by Nintendo. It was streamed. I've got some quotes by Ash Parrish at The Verge. And of course, we've got what's his name? I forget his name. Onuma.
AG Aonuma? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a reminder real quick, viewers or listeners, you should be viewers because we're doing video episodes now on YouTube and Spotify. So get your little tookus on over here and come hang out with us visually.
You and your grandmother, who also says "tookus."
Tookus. I mean, I'm just trying to keep it PG over here. You know, it's a family show.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure she loves Zelda. But yeah, so it showed a couple really cool new mechanics, and I'm gonna kind of go over them. I think there were 4 different mechanics they showed.
I can kind of scrub through as we're talking, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So the first one, and probably the biggest, and I think the most interesting feature, was Link's new fuse ability. It's where he can take everyday objects like a rock. There you go, right there. So you see the rock.
Yeah. So
he can take.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Houston.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm excited about it. Yeah. So you can take 2 items, and they don't have to be related at all. Like this, in this example, Link took a stick, like from a tree, like a tree branch, and then a big rock, and he fused them together and made essentially like a rock mallet with them. Which was like, that blew my mind when I saw it. I was like, no way. This is like Zelda being Breath of the Wild, particularly being the game that people thought like it has no limits. Like it's what you can think of, you can do. They added more things that you could think of, which I thought was super cool. This is just one of them. So continue. Sorry.
No, I mean, I think you jumped in. I know I think actually the one who's probably going to play this before I am. I think that's brilliant because especially the long-term fans of the series, it's all about the creativity. You know, that's what people like about this game. I think that's what makes it unique as a Zelda game. Not just there's obviously the open world and all that, but I don't know, this stuff sets it apart from the normal Ubisoft fare. Like it's just so creative.
Yeah, you're seeing
like this part. Look at the bow with the jelly.
Yeah, you can create elemental arrows with chew jellies fused to arrows, and the wildest one I think is coming next when he fuses the Keese eyeball to the arrow, and it becomes a homing arrow because there's an eyeball attached to it. That was like, what?
Well, what's exciting about that is it shows that you don't know what combining things will do. And they had a bit of that in the first game, obviously. Like when you cook the cooking, that's one of the things I think of, like, you combine items, you don't know what's going to happen. And that was cool. But this is really cool.
This takes it to the next level. I mean, I'm just like thinking in game developer like mindset right now. It's like how many variations of like every single item. Because if you do the math on that, there's going to be thousands of possible combinations, like tens of thousands probably of possible combinations of just any 2 random objects that you can interact with in the game being able to be fused together. Like this one, he takes like they call it like a puff mushroom, attaches it to a shield, and when the enemy hits the shield, it creates a smoke screen because it's this puff mushroom, which I guess means smoke in their world. It's so crazy. Watch, here you go. There it is. Boom, smoke screen instantly.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I think what's fun too is like this is going to be one of those games that there will be things found out about it like 3 or 4 years after it launched. People will be like, we didn't know this was possible. And that'll be just the longevity of a game like that becomes amazing. And I just think that's so exciting.
Yeah, they're making it like Minecraft. They're like fusing Zelda with Minecraft. And I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah. So that's the fuse ability. The next big one was called Ultra Hand. And I think they're about to show that now. Ultra Hand basically was an ability where you can take larger objects and make things beyond just weapons. So like in this case, he's taking a couple different logs, and then he takes that like mechanized wheel that's a fan, and he's able to make a boat, which is really, really cool. And I think you've probably seen in the trailer the giant car that, or I think there's even one where he's flying on like with a fan.
Yeah.
An airship. Well, you know, that's not something that's automatically in the game. That's something that you can be clever and make yourself.
Yeah, so it's like an extension of the fuse ability, but like you said, to larger objects, to make vehicles, to make kind of like maybe bridges, or I don't know, just things to open like big doors, or find, like there's a lot of sand in like the Gerudo desert, so like maybe you can use those fans to like reveal things. I don't know. There's a lot of cool ideas that you can get with it.
I'm sure there will be puzzles combining all of these elements everywhere.
Tons.
And it just there's a lot of potential, and it's cool. I remember everybody joked about Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts when they saw this stuff,
Mhm.
but it's still kind of cool. And so yeah, Ultra Hand's pretty cool. The next one was called Rewind. Rewind was one where it's pretty simple, where if any object is moving through space, Link can make it rewind. And so in that case, there was a rock falling from the sky
Yeah,
that you can see, and there are these floating islands all over the game that are they literally call them sky islands. And so it's like, well, how do I get up there? Well, if a rock falls from up there, Link can go get on the rock and then rewind it to use it as an elevator to get back up.
Recall, I think is what they call it. Anyway, but yes, that's we get the gist is that you can rewind time on falling objects. At least that's one of the versions of this mechanic to reach these sky islands, which is how they expanded this game. So from what I can see, it is largely the same map from Breath of the Wild. But they added it vertically. They essentially added another world on top of it in the sky that you can get to via these sky islands, which is really cool. I'm still really curious about the whole why does Link have long hair and what is the Ultra Hand?
Time? I don't know. Maybe there's a time mechanic here. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's Recall. And I think there was one more in here, right? The Ascend?
There was. Ascend was the last one. Ascend was basically an ability. Someone compared it to the escape rope from Pokemon. So if you're in a cave and you want to get out, you hit Ascend and you can go through the roof of the cave to get out. But then you can also use that ability to solve puzzles, get places you haven't been. And of course, the Sky Islands and all of that makes a lot of sense that you can use Ascend. And so I don't know necessarily, there's probably more applications, but we've really yet to see.
Yeah, scaling and then just maneuvering outside of caves and stuff seems like the most obvious ones for sure. But yeah, you like phase through rocks and stuff. It's like really cool animation. It has this like really crazy green glow, but it looks like you're kind of in liquid at the same time.
It's like you're swimming through the earth to get
yeah.
It's pretty crazy. But like, imagine that like there's a like a mountain or something, and there's no way up directly. But if you could get deep enough under the earth, then you could go up. You could get up through it that way. And so, like, I don't know. That's cool.
Yeah, this is me showing my super nerdy anime side. If you've seen My Hero Academia, there's a character called Mirio that has a very similar ability to this, where he can kind of just phase through the earth, which is really cool. So if you're not watching and you know the anime, then you kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So what did this gameplay teaser do for you? I mean, you were already like
I'm already at Instabuy. That's just kind of put the hype over the top for me. This is just kind of showing that like, yeah, this game is going to be epic. It's going to be more of the same, which I think is what everybody wanted. I think there's still a fair amount of mystery to the story with all like the time. Like there's definitely there's got to be some like time issues. There's the whole what they call dehydrated Ganon character. So we're going to learn more about that character, if it is Ganon, if it's not Ganon. How does Zelda play into all of this? Because she seems like she's going to be a more prevalent character as well. Is Link actually going to talk? I don't know. That's my far-reaching goal prediction, is that we're going to actually hear Link say a sentence.
If Preston wasn't dead, he would have made a comment about we're looking at Zelda right there.
Yeah, that's it.
And okay, I wanted to talk about one more cool one. So there's this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles graphic novel called The Last Ronin, and they're making it into a video game. And I really hope when you see this image that we have, it like immediately, yes. So here's the description. This comes from Michael McWhorter at Polygon. He says, like the comic, the Last Ronin video game adaptation will be a darker, more mature take on the typically colorful Ninja Turtles, according to Doug Rosen, Senior Vice President for Games at Paramount Global. Rosen likened the upcoming third-person action role-playing game to Sony's recent God of War titles, and said it will be authentic to the story of the Last Ronin arc, which is set in a future where only one of the turtles has survived.
Oh gosh, that's so dark. That is very dark.
It's basically Ronin, like when Hawkeye becomes Ronin in the Marvel series, which you get to see a little bit of that if you ever watched the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus. Um, you didn't get to see much of that. And you actually, I think Endgame you got to see
Yeah,
that
you
a
get
little
to
bit.
see him in like Tokyo or something like that with the katana and fighting
but
people
not
like
very,
that.
but not very long, just a little bit. But yeah. And I don't know if you ever knew, but like Ninja Turtles has always kind of made fun of DC and Marvel.
I don't think I
So
paid
like,
close enough attention to notice that, but that's kind of funny. It makes
so
sense.
they're, so like they're in Marvel. There's something called the Hand. The Hand was the basically the undercover ninja warrior clan that like Shredder used, or not Shredder, that I'm sorry, in Marvel that was called the Hand. Well, they literally in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, theirs is called the Foot.
The Foot Clan. Yeah.
So they just went with whatever, we're the Foot.
Take that.
They just take that. And so I've always, I don't know, kind of respected Ninja Turtles for like,
Yeah.
if they're their own thing, but they'll totally make fun of other comics or take the ideas from them a little bit, just like unabashedly. And
Yeah. I didn't grow up with the comics of TMNT, but I did watch their like the original animated series and all of the video games for like SNES, and then we also have Shredder's Revenge now as like kind of like the reprise of that. So I would definitely consider myself a Ninja Turtles fan. The live action movie doesn't count. That thing is terrible. Oh, the current live action movie is awful, in my opinion. The old ones are hilarious and like have their own place. But
there's a current live action.
oh yeah, it's like Mortal Kombat bad.
I know that there's animated ones.
No, there's a well, I guess it's animated. They're CGI characters, but it's like a pseudo live action thing. Wasn't that like 2018 or something like that? Did we block that out of our memory from COVID?
I think those were fully CG. I would call that animated.
But it's like it's 3D. I think there were real people in it, like actual actors. There definitely were.
Oh, there were.
Yeah, it was really bad.
It's like Michael Bayified.
It is. Did he direct it? I forget. Megan Fox is in it, so maybe.
I don't know who did it.
Oh, they made 2 of them. Holy crap!
They did. The other one was called like something in the shadows.
Out of the Shadows. So 2014 was the first one. 2016. Yeah, I just totally blocked that out of my memory.
It wasn't Michael Bay, was it? It looks so Michael Bay.
Jonathan
Nope.
Liebsman.
And Megan Fox is even in it. So like,
that's what I was saying. Yeah.
What a terrible cast for April O'Neil too. No.
This is the same director that did Battle Los Angeles and Darkness Falls.
Yeah, man, I don't know, but I'm excited for the game. First off, I really like the God of War titles. Obviously, if that's the inspiration for it, and something that's a little bit darker and more mature could be really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like I said, I'm a Turtles fan. I mean, Ninja Turtles and the regular variety. So, I'm all here for it.
I'm split on the turtles, just regular turtles.
Shout out to my mom and Amanda. You know who you are, so shout out for turtles, just because.
What?
Yeah, my mom and my friend Amanda both like turtles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, shout out turtles.
You know who likes stomping turts?
It's
Mario.
I don't think you're allowed to say that sentence legally.
He'd be stomping turts.
Oh man, mushes and turts. They all get crushed.
Where did I see that? It was a kid did like a school paper all about Mario stomping turts, and I'm gonna make you pull it up.
Oh man. No, you go straight to jail for that. I don't know if we have
Mario the idea versus Mario the man. That's what it was called. Anyway, you got to look that one up.
All right. Well,
good times.
We'll watch it not on the episode. I'll watch that after.
It's a kid's homework. It's just he wrote a paper and that's what he titled it.
Okay.
And he talks about Mario stomping turts.
I'm here for it.
And then he's like, but why does he stomp turts?
Holding the skull, like doing the Shakespeare
Correct.
reading. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of Mario, the Mario movie's coming out. Can't wait. And we've talked a lot about it on the show, but something I wanted to quickly, and it's not really talk about, but I wanted to do a challenge is March 31st, which for us is 2 days from now, the Tetris movie drops on Apple TV Plus. And considering we are a video game podcast and all dads have Apple TV Plus because we want to watch Ted Lasso.
Correct.
We should watch Tetris.
Okay. Isn't there like a share watch thing? Can we do that together?
I don't know.
I think Apple. I want to say Apple TV is one of the ones. Anyway, besides the point. But yes, I'm down to do that. So, do you know the premise of the movie at all? Can you explain that to us?
Okay, so I'm not even going to Google it, but I've seen the trailer, and you should definitely look up the trailer. But the basic premise is that an American gets his hands and plays an early version of Tetris, the very first Tetris, and is immediately addicted. He loves the game, but it is a game that's made by Russians, a Russian man, and so they go to buy the game, but at the time, and I believe this is the 80s, 70s. At the time, and still, I mean, Russia was very communist and very anti-capitalist. So businessmen from America coming into Russia to try to buy a game was frowned upon. And so it's all about, and Taron Egerton, I believe, plays the main American actor who's going to Russia. They get involved with the KGB. Things escalate. They can't get the game. It becomes chaos. And so it's like, in a way, the Tetris the game is a simile or a metaphor for like the puzzle solving they have to do to get in and out of Russia to get the licensing for the game.
Oh man, that sounds intense.
So like it's I don't know. It looks great, man. You should definitely watch the trailer.
Okay, you have my interest.
So I'm gonna watch it this week. It drops in 2 days, and my parents come into town tomorrow, and maybe that would be a show that we'd all like. I don't know. My dad hates video games.
Oof.
But
just don't tell him it's about Tetris. Just say like, hey, we're gonna watch this cool movie about Russian spies.
Tetris was the code name in the Cold War.
Yeah.
Just make something up.
Yeah, Tetris is just Russian for the violence.
Correct. And he'll be like, I don't know. My dad doesn't do that ever.
He doesn't make old man noises.
Sounded like a pondering samurai.
Oh yes. Well,
tell me more.
I'm excited to at least check that out, at least the trailer. But then, dude, I am legitimately stoked for the Mario movie. I know we've talked about it for like the past 5 episodes, but
no,
I didn't think I would be. That's the crazy thing.
I'm excited. At the end of the day, it's an hour and a half movie.
Oh goodness. I thought I was the tired one starting this episode.
I do declare.
We've said that. We've said took us.
The late night dadness is getting to me. Maybe Preston, who's dead, as we know.
Rest in peace.
Maybe he passed something on to me. I don't know.
He passed the dead on to you?
No, I mean,
just
how his tiredness, correct.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why that was just a sign of that he was going to die.
No, I'm feeling it too, man. Long day, which is kind of a cool day. We had crawfish. We had our company crawfish boil today, which was really fun. Which, I mean, I've not even been in the company a year yet, and so I don't know if this is really like an annual or a regular thing. But our newest employee, shout out Mike, was the one that cooked the crawfish, and so maybe it's a new tradition. Hoping it is, maybe more than once per season.
Yeah, we used to have crawfish boils at our work too, and we don't have those anymore.
Yeah,
very sad.
For those not in Louisiana, we take bugs out of the dirt and the water and the mud, and then we wash them off, and then we boil them, and we put a bunch of spices in them, and then we eat them whole.
Mm-hmm. Well, we suck the meat out.
Yes, it's even more. It's even more gruesome than it is. Yeah.
Oh, I just got notified. We just lost 5 subscribers.
Just in real. Boop, 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 boop. That's like a half of our viewership.
Oh, that's not true.
No, we're over 50 now, at least on YouTube, and then we have all the other channels. So, shout out to those who have been with us from the beginning, and welcome to new listeners and viewers. So glad to have you here.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, guys, again, subscribe, jump in. Please email us. We really like questions. We got a lot of questions, I think, in those first couple weeks, and they've kind of trailed off. But let us know what you think about. Are you excited for the Tetris movie? Do you think a single player TMNT game playing as Michelangelo as he takes on after all of his fallen brothers and master have died? That sounds awesome to me. But I want to hear what you think. And so all kinds of things, the Zelda game, Diablo, are you going to jump in? Are we going to start our own Dad Casual clan?
Who should be our first guest? Because we haven't had a guest yet in 32 episodes. That's also, that's been kind of on the plate for a little while. We just kind of haven't found the right person yet. So
Yeah, I'm thinking Jeff Keighley.
is he a dad? Do we know if Jeff is a dad?
Maybe Phil Spencer, head of Xbox. I don't know.
I want to get Nick Offerman. Let's get Nick Offerman.
Just a movie, just a guy?
Well,
just a movie actor?
I mean, he was in a video game show. Why not?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Boom. Gotcha.
My mind jumped to when you first said that to Nick from New Girl, and that's not who Nick Offerman is.
Oh no,
Nick
not at all. Also hilarious actor, but you know.
I mean, I'd have him on if he wanted to be.
Absolutely.
Nick of New Girl, you can be here. I don't know his name either.
Hold on, I need to. We can't disrespect him like that if we want him on the show.
He needs to be in
Jake Johnson.
More things. He was in that cop movie, it was pretty funny.
He's been in quite a bit. It's not just New Girl. New Girl's very successful for him though, but Jake Johnson is his name.
I have not seen any trailers or any new content on my radar, but I would be willing to watch it. Jake Johnson. Yeah.
I know we talked about doing the little wrestling sideshow mini podcast for Preston. We need to have a movie one now too for you and me, and for Preston. He likes movies too. But I feel like you and I are the movie buffs for real.
Yeah, he likes TV shows and series. I just started this week watching Succession. Great. One of the funniest episodes yet. Though it kind of feels narratively like the overall story feels like it took a back step, but still hilarious as ever. And of course, Ted Lasso, I mentioned that. And I highly recommend on Apple TV, if you're going to get there and watch Tetris anyway, check out, it's called Shrinking. Really good, man. Shrinking. It's about kind of a sad subject, but it's about a therapist who lost his wife and his wife passed away suddenly in a car accident. And so then he is struggling and needs his own therapy, but has to still be a therapist. But it takes place like a year or two after all of that. So it's not like rushing despair the whole time, but it's so funny. There's so many good jokes. That starts Jason.
Is it the one with Harrison Ford?
Segel? Jason Segel?
The guy from How I Met Your Mother, right?
Yes, I think of him as
he plays Marshall.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall is always what I think.
Yeah, but then also Harrison Ford, yeah.
Yeah, Harrison Ford is great in it.
That's I don't know why you mentioned Jason first when Harrison Ford's in it.
Well, Jason's clearly is the lead actor.
Yeah, sure.
Harrison's a side character.
But that's super cool.
Yeah, it's great and really funny, and I highly recommend.
Yeah. Dude, how's your family been? How have you been with your family? How's everything?
Things have been good, man. Actually really good. I've tried not to talk about this too much, but I guess this is a good place to talk about real life. I went back to getting some exercise lately, pretty regularly. I've now gone on 9 runs. Tomorrow will be my 10th run. And I do like a bunch of push-ups and sit-ups, and I'm not going to the gym. I'm not spending money. I'm just doing what I can with what I have. And I know it sounds weird, but that has had a ripple effect into my marriage and life with my kids. I don't know. I feel better.
Yeah. I was just going to comment on that I am definitely not the person to be giving everyone health advice or life advice, but if you'll have it, self-care is definitely the root of a lot of branching out into the rest of your life. Just like you're saying, when I do get my butt to the gym and when I do decide to eat healthier and not just fried fast food, and when I decide to go to bed on time and make sure my
Mhm.
hygiene's up to date and all that kind of stuff. Just like it makes you feel better as a person and lets you kind of like serve those around you better.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that definitely rings true.
I definitely think sometimes, and I'm not a therapist, but sometimes we can mask the things like you might even have a video game addiction or a something addiction as self-care. But when in reality, like, is that really taking care of yourself? I think it's all a balance. I think you should like mentally, you should still have that bowl of ice cream. You should still buy that video game. You should still do things. But there's also a physical side to your health as well. Like, do those things don't really help you physically? They just might give you a break. But like, when's the last time you've read a book? When is the last time you've done something social? Maybe you've been alone a lot. Like, self care is more than just as a gamer, and I'm just being totally transparent. It's more than just
It,
having a game night because sometimes that game night isn't actually what you need.
yeah,
Maybe you
it's more
need,
than just unwinding.
yeah,
You can
that's
only unwind so much before you just become like a empty spool on the ground, if you will.
yeah. And it's sometimes you're like, oh no, I'm in a bad place. I need to have some self-care tonight. And then you just do it again and again and again and again and again. You gotta, I think that's where having friends and therapy and people around you to talk to of like that they see those patterns in you. I think that's where community is helpful. Because oftentimes you don't see that in yourself just because depends what's going on in your life. But as for me, things are doing pretty good. How about you, man? You doing all right? How's your marriage? I think you and your wife been playing Hogwarts together.
Yeah, a little bit. We only had like one real good session with that so far, but I'm going to keep encouraging her. I'm actually sending Kristen on a little vacation this weekend. She's going to go to Orlando.
Oh,
She's flying out to Orlando tomorrow to go see some friends, and then they're going to go to Universal for a day.
that's awesome.
And her, more than anybody else on the planet, as far as I'm concerned, deserves time off. And this is not nearly scratching the surface of what she actually needs or deserves. But we had some airline miles. She's staying with a friend, so that's free. Like money's pretty tight for us usually. We're a single income family, and I'm doing my best to kind of like make everything work. I got a new job a few months ago, and it's paying us more. So like we're not like in trouble or anything. It's just our budget's a little bit tighter than the average family being single income. So when we get to do stuff like this, it's a bit more special. And so I don't think Kristen's taken a flight by herself since before Josephine was born.
Mm,
So she's excited about that. She loves travel just as much as I do. But it takes a lot more for her to like detach because she's a worrier. She like is an overthinker. She is, and like, not to say that those are like negative things. It's just part of her personality. Like I'm very much like the chill, almost too relaxed kind of person. I'm very type B. She's very type A. I think we
mhm.
balance each other out a little bit, really well. But I'm going to try to force her to be more type B this weekend.
Oh yeah, a
And
vacation. Everybody should become type
yeah,
B.
yeah. And so we have a really good friend of ours, a couple of friends of ours, a married couple over there, that are going to like really take care of her. And I trust them with my own family. They're wonderful people. Another one of my old bandmates and his wife from back in the day. And so super excited for her to be able to do that. My mom's going to come take Josephine so I can work tomorrow. So I don't have to take time off of work, but then I'm going to go hang out with my parents and take care of my daughter there, go to their church, like kind of just spend the weekend over there. So I think it'd be good for everybody.
Be great.
Yeah, really, really. I feel like I'm as excited about the trip as she is.
Oh, I felt like that way. So I sent my wife as a surprise to Mexico with my mom and sister last year.
Mhm.
I think we were doing the podcast at the time, and I was kind of worried about it because I was like, oh man, a surprise. It's not like she's going with her best friend. She's going with my mom and sister, and I
Mhm.
was a little, but and I think at first she was like, oh my gosh, okay, but then I think she just came back, man. It's just a great idea. Like I plan trips with me and my friends. My wife won't do it. So I try to like
Mhm.
set her up for that if I can. Because she should get to get away too. And it's sometimes it's just different being away without your spouse and kids. Like truly, you get in this middle space if I can just do whatever I want. Do I
Yeah.
want to take a nap? I don't like doesn't I don't know, like if my spouse is with me, I'm gonna be like, hey, what do you think about doing? I'm thinking about it. Like there's at least a little bit of a, and that's a good thing. You should be considerate of your spouse and always checking. It's not like a controlling thing, it's just consideration. But man, when you're just with friends, I feel like I just love that feeling of like, all right, you guys have fun. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, and
I love it.
I'm very fortunate. I agree with that, and I'm very fortunate to experience that pretty often because when I do my gigs for this music group that I'm with, they'll fly me out and I'll be there for like a extended weekend, and I'm responsible for playing music and like doing that well. But other than that, I don't have like a spouse or kids to worry about that weekend or like any other responsibility other than just like playing music, which I love to do, which is fun for me. It's a challenge, and like making sure that I'm like on top of my game is like part of it, and make sure I know the music. And so like it is a job in that sense, but like music is like at least
Yeah,
those gigs are like cake for me. Like I love doing it. I love the people that I'm with. It's like hanging out with friends. It's like not really like a vacation so much because most of the time I'm going to some random city that I've never heard of that like we don't really get to leave like the hotel or the venue. Like it's like, oh, you're going to Chicago.
sure.
It's like, no, I'm going to 30 minutes outside of downtown Chicago, and I have to stay in my hotel the whole time unless I go to the venue. And then so I'm not going to get deep dish pizza every night or something like that. It's not as glamorous as it might seem,
Yeah, it rarely is.
but I get to sleep without having to worry about a kid, which I'm very thankful for, and I'm very aware that it's like not
Oh,
it's not fair to my
oh,
wife.
my wife has mentioned before, she's like, just get me one night in a hotel room and let me
Yeah,
do like, well, she was, I think one time she was like, get me a night in a hotel room, let me do room service. And like, I'm gonna like go to a movie by myself and then go back to the hotel and like,
do nothing. Yeah,
and I was like, okay, sure. Like,
yeah.
there's just sometimes there's nothing wrong with wanting to be alone. That's such a hard lesson when you're early on in your marriage.
Hmm.
Because like at first you're like, well, you don't want to be with me?
And you take it
I
extremely
don't know.
personal. I know I do because I'm more of the
Yeah,
extrovert and she's more of the introvert. So I totally get that.
yeah. Michelle definitely really likes quality time together. And so, but as we've gotten married, I think it's just that her confidence and how close we are, no matter what, has just increased. And so it's like, oh yeah, okay, hang out with your friends, like no big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's been cool to kind of see because Kristen was such like a independent person before we got married and before we had kids, and now she's such an amazing mother, and she's like very like on top of like wanting to take care of our kid. But like I haven't seen her very often
Mhm.
transition back to like original Kristen state. And so this weekend, I'm really hoping she has a chance to do that and kind of just let loose a little bit and have some fun.
That's awesome, man. I'm happy for y'all.
Yeah, yeah, same. Hope we get to do it a lot more often in the future.
Well, I think that will probably wrap up this week's episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things, write us an email, whatever you feel like doing. We would be more than happy to hear from you or really get your subscription. Join in. Let us know if you need anything or have any topic ideas. And yeah, until next week, this is Dad Casual.
Later, y'all.